Welcome back to Vlogmas. I have no mic, I have no camera, but I have a phone. So that's what we're shooting on today. We're gonna do a dual input circuit. I talked about this yesterday. I'm gonna show you what the heck that is, why you might want to make one, and how freaking useful it can be. Okay, so here's what we're gonna make today. This is the dual input circuit. So that means input 1 can be like a remote control, input 2 can be the running light, and then either way, it's gonna just send power to the same thing, and neither of those different inputs will backfeed into each other. Super, super basic, also super, super useful tool. And just like yesterday, we're gonna use the same little Anzo 4-button remote to control these things, to turn them on and off. I'm gonna use a blinker. I'll set up multiple different ways that we can turn on the same little bulbs. We'll turn on the lightning bolts as well. And then I'll show you exactly how I make this little thing, which only takes a second. So most important is how it's used, and then we'll get into how to throw it together really quick. So for this, let's go ahead and we're gonna hook up the power and ground to this little duty here. Next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna test this dual input circuit. Okay, give it power, and we're set. So this is just an on-off setup, right? So what if we wanted to control this with our little strobe unit from yesterday, and then we can also have it hooked up to the parking light? So if we wanted to do that, we're just gonna take the power wire off, and we are going to connect it to our little dual input circuit. It's just got 2 diodes, and they're coming together at one side. And so now if we want, we can hook up one side here, and now our remote's gonna work again, just like before. No power loss, nothing like that. But then if we're like, hey, I wanna be able to control that in another way, like on the strobe controller, and the strobe is just touching power on and off a bunch, and we also want to do that, look, nothing changes because it's already getting power. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's do the same thing with the bolts because they're just, I don't know, gonna be more dramatic. All right, so let's say that I want to have these things function as strobe lights, just like we did yesterday, right? But I also want them to come on automatically with the running lights. And look how that's turned on right now. It's not affecting the other light because it's got one of its power wires connected to channel 4 here on the remote. And then the other one is hooked up to channel 1 down here that's feeding a strobe remote that has the output going into the second input here on this little dual input circuit. So when I do this, that does that. If I turn that on, it obviously overrides the other because it's just keeping power on. Now the power coming from channel 4 is not even interfering. It doesn't have any idea that there's power coming in from the strobe remote either. So just a kind of a cool way that you can have multiple things. This could be running light, and if your running lights are on and you have strobes turned on to power up those running lights, obviously you're not going to see much more than a little flicker like you see right here, but both of the things can work hooked up to the same 2-wire part. So if you look, it's just power and ground turning on this lightning bolt. May or may not seem super interesting to you. For me, it gives me the ability to do things that I can use one part as a turn signal as well as a running light, or I can tie in multiple different parts. Like, how about your brake lights? That's how I would hook up the brake lights on this Evo. It's how I will hook up the brake lights on this Evo, so that they normally get their shot of power from the brakes, but I can also tie those individual brake lights into that strobe remote and isolate the left from the right, just because I use the circuit I'm gonna show you how to make right now. Super fast. Ready? This is what we are going to make. It's just one piece of red wire that I've cut and stripped and done other things with. Then we've got a couple of these little diodes, which is weird because normally people think of diodes as like a little LED chip or something like that. Like this little dude, that is not what we're talking about. A diode is like a one-way valve, and there's a little stripe on the end, a silver stripe. So it means that power can go through it this way. And if 12 volts is going that way, then wherever the stripe is at, the power can't come back the opposite way. And then the same is true is if you use it for ground, you can send ground through it, through the stripe, but it can't come back from the other thicker part, right? So it's a one-way valve. It works for power or ground. Super useful little dude. It's IN4007. That's the kind of diode I'm using. And we just want to basically put 2 of them together, and then we're going to twist the ends so that we have Like this is literally done. I just made a dual input circuit. That's it. Input 1, input 2, output. That's it. So we're going to add wire to this and some heat shrink, and then it will be this. That's literally the same exact thing. Electronic guys and like nerds that care so much about everything being done the way they learned in a textbook or in electronics lab, whatever. I know that this probably isn't the way that teacher McFarland taught you, but this actually works great on super cool LED taillight projects, headlight stuff. Please don't be offended. Let the other kids learn in class. Let's go. I'm gonna cut these two lengths. I get that I tease you guys too. I love you. There's our two inputs. And then here is our output. And that's it. Now we're just gonna strip those wires. Ooh, I still got these. I found these guys the other day. They're so beat up. Just limping along. I mean, you just don't have to be fancy. You can do this anywhere. You don't need cool stuff. You don't need cool tools. You just need that IN4007 times 2, some solder, some heat shrink, and some wire. All right, enough yapping. So we are going to literally just twist these guys around that, trim the excess. You didn't do the... I don't know. I'm not gonna keep teasing you guys. I'm sorry. I know there's better ways to do this. And like I've said many times before, I just don't care. Let's solder it up. And I always use lead solder as opposed to lead-free solder, which is way less bad for you. But I find that after working with bad stuff and not washing my hands and inhaling the fumes as I'm doing now, I just feel better about myself as a man. No, I don't. I feel like an idiot after, so be smarter than me, guys. All right. We're gonna trim the excess off, put our heat shrink on there, and we're halfway home. One little heat shrink. I just got a whole bunch more heat shrink too, and I didn't buy blue this time, so pretty proud of that. Gonna manage to keep all of my heat shrink connections nice and sleek. So actually, probably shouldn't have put those all the way up like that at this point, but again, I don't care that much. Just because when you solder, it's gonna create the heat that's gonna make that shrink up. But this is like a super fast, quick and dirty, film it on my iPhone, no excuses. If I can do it, you can do it kind of video. And we're gonna finish up this beautiful work of art by shrinking the heat shrink. One thing I didn't do on this one that I absolutely can/should do on this one is I like to fan out my heat shrink if I need it to go over stuff, because keep in mind, it's gonna shrink back down. And if you don't go hardcore on this, you're able to do it in a way that it spreads it just big enough to fit these two diodes through. And that's gonna keep them together so that now there's not that like real weak point right where they would be like bending open like these guys do. All right, twinsies, let's go try them out. Other stuff I'll put in the video today are going to be our brand new bulbs. We've got a brand new T15 reverse bulb and a T10 bulb that can be used for reverse or all sorts of different stuff. Both have a cool little lens. This one obviously has way more LEDs in it, and they're super bright. They're awesome. I love them, and they are going to replace one of the uses of the other bulbs, such as like a trunk light when it's aiming down. If you can see kind of that like spotlight that this thing puts. So imagine it just dangling straight down and being crazy bright inside your trunk or something like that. And then we've got the super bright T15 as well. That is going to be our new kind of flagship reverse bulb. I love these things. They're crazy bright and they match really well with the other size bulbs like the 7440s for the GTR taillights when we do the quad reverse. Jesus, that's bright. And this is our other existing bulb. And basically what I'm going to do, this one's kind of messed up, so I'm going to try to kill it for you on screen right now. But what people have been having a hard time with is, geez, I still can't see. The base on this is kind of thick. The base on this is not. So this will just push right into place. You can't really do it the wrong way. And it sits, it's got that really low profile. It sits very, very, like it's a short bulb, right? And this one, I can't see. So this one, if we like push into place, we want to make sure that it's sitting nice. But if we like shove this thing down, what can happen is it can actually bypass. And see how it got extra bright there for a second? That's gonna kill it. So it can only sustain that extra brightness for a minute. I'm waiting for it to like melt my finger or something like that. Basically though, because it's been shoved too far into place, I feel it hurting me right now. Ow. Believe me that over time, that's gonna overheat all the components. They fall off, it burns. You've now killed your bulb, and then you're like, hey man, the bulb doesn't work. Well, it sure did, but not for long after it was shoved into place too hard. So this one, you can't do that. That's the whole point there. Enough about the bulbs. Let's make them blink and do stuff. So Chris, why did you show us the little super bright reverse bulbs? Well, because I want you to buy them, and I want you to hook up cool strobes to your reverse lights and have cool reverse lights, you know? Dual input, the whole dual function thing, that's what it's about. Let's see what those look like. One, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, if you're gonna go make some dual input circuits with some IN4007 diodes and, I don't know, do cool things with your existing lights, it may cost you a whole $1. If you do it, tell me about it, tag me in it on Instagram, do all that stuff, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, do all the things, and I'll see you on Vlogmas tomorrow.